Hello everybody, it is Cheri B and I'm back. It is Friday, so it's my share day. Giving you an update on still going with the whole food, plant-based, no oil lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Yeah, we're on week 13. Lucky number 13. Yeah, it's going well. I only have a few things this week, really. A few little notes here. Let's see. Last week, I think I was on Friday, it was at 184. I am down to 182. So from 239, I know it's not all about the weight, but that's what everybody wants to know about, right? Like, is it really working? Are you losing weight? Because everybody focuses on the weight. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, from 231 while I was in the hospital, let's see, 13, 14, 15 weeks ago, 16 weeks ago, down to 182. So 49 pounds, one more pound, and I've lost 50 pounds since then. That's insane-o. Insane, yes. And I'm clothes, I went through and I have no clothes left. None of them fit me anymore. I'll have to do a before and after picture at some point. I kind of feel like I'm not in my after yet, you know, that I'm still working on it. So, but I'll have to share that. But yeah, almost 50 pounds. It's crazy. I'm going to talk about Darren today a little bit though, because some big news with him. He had to do the health risk assessment just like I did. If you followed along, he had to do it for insurance. He was on a 6-month update because he had blood pressure was kind of high. So a year ago, his blood pressure was high. His cholesterol wasn't bad. It was like, I think, total was like 168, I think, for total cholesterol. But his HDL and LDL were flipped. Like his HDL wasn't as good. His LDL was a little higher. So good cholesterol wasn't as good. And his triglycerides were a little high. They were like 195, I think, which is a little high. So he went in on Wednesday and had that redone. At the 6 month, they just checked. They didn't do blood work. They just checked his weight and blood pressure. And I think it was elevated. That would have been back in May. So it was right when we were just starting, right when I was just starting and gotten out of the hospital and just started eating a whole food plant-based diet. And so he had started to lose just a little bit of weight then. But he had lost, since last year, he just lost 17 pounds. 10 of which he lost since May. So he's lost quite a lot of weight, you know, just for him. And he's eating some of this. I mean, we're eating whole food plant-based, but he's eating a little bit more of the refined stuff. Like he eats the blue corn organic chips and some more of that kind of stuff that I don't really partake of that too often. I might sneak a chip here and there, but I don't really sit and eat that stuff. I try to really focus on the whole foods. So that's kind of a big deal. The other thing is his numbers, guys, because this is what's important. This is the crazy thing about eating this way that I think a lot of people miss in terms of health and diet and exercise. You can go on lots of diets to lose weight. I'm not going to preach like I did last week about the anti-keto stuff, but I actually have a conference that I'm going to have to go to the grocery store, so I'm not going to be able to listen to it, but there's some news more news come out about keto, so I was gonna listen in on that, or on the recording. I'll have to share what I find out, but it's through physicians committee, so we'll have to see what that's about. But anyways, you know, focusing on weight is such a critical thing. And of course, if you're overweight, you're at risk of a lot of things, but you can be very thin and be very sick. And we talked about that last week in the video. If you didn't watch it, you can go back and watch that. But his numbers, you know, even though his total cholesterol was 168, okay, they did the quick read. He did fast for it, but they did the quick read machine. So it's like a little machine, you know, they don't have to send it off to the lab, little machine. And I don't know how, in terms of lab, like blood draw lab versus the machine, I think it's pretty accurate. But anyways, they did a little machine for the A1C and then also for the cholesterol. It will not give a number if it's under 100. So his total cholesterol is under 100. His triglycerides were under 100. His HDL and LDL flipped. His HDL is perfect. It's like 70 something. His LDL is like 40 something. Just fabulous numbers. And I'm gonna out him here. Darren and I are 13 years apart. So I'm the young one. He's the old guy. And he's 60. Darren's 60 years old. So the thing is, no medication to do any of that. All diet, all done in the last, really, I will tell you, probably in the last, 13 weeks or whatever that we're doing this. And it's just amazing because like his health, I mean, obviously it's not a silver, we're not immune to all disease or bad things happening, but it's like prime health. Darren's 60 years old in prime health. Because of us walking it, he walks with me every night. We do a 1.5 miles after dinner. I still am doing we had our first week of school. I'll share that in a minute. But anyways, I just think it's amazing. And the thing about this is it's such a quick turnaround. So if you're battling not just weight, because the weight is one thing, right? The weight is one thing. It shouldn't be the focus. It's hard for me not to now focus on it because now I've lost so much. I'm like, crap, I'm getting my body back. I'm like, it's just amazing. It's so amazing. So it's hard not to focus on that. But this is the thing. That's not what's most important. It's internally your body functioning better. My resting heart rate now is like in the 50s. Same with Darren. His sometimes is in the 40s. You look it up. Sometimes it'll say that's bradycardia. It's not. Look up what an athlete's resting heart rate is. That's what that is. Like a well-trained athlete. That's their resting heart rate. The reason being is our heart doesn't have to work as hard. Our blood is not as thick because there's no fat in it. So I'm just learning so much stuff that I'm just like, whoa. But anyways, I'm just such a blessing that, here we sit, the two of us as a couple, and we're finally, after 23 years of marriage, finally somewhat healthy. It's kind of a little sad that it took us that long, but hey, it's never too late. So anyways, something else I want to share. We watched a documentary. It's actually, I don't have my book here. The China Study, T. Colin Campbell. It's his son, PlantPure Nation. It's a free documentary. If you're interested, you want to dig into this stuff. If you haven't seen it before, it's not new. It's older, but it's pretty interesting because as I'm learning more and more, like doctors, most medical doctors have no nutrition in school. So that means they take 0 classes on nutrition. Almost all of our major diseases, most all of them are caused by lifestyle right now. And it has to do with what we eat and then lack of exercise. So they're not learning the main part. They're not learning that at all. The other thing, so that's just something to consider. It's easier to be, you have 10 minutes. What do they need? You need a pill. Got to get you better, whatever. It's not starting at the beginning looking at the whole person treatment. It's looking at like the individual pieces. It's such a problem. I think I talked about that last week, but it's such a problem. We so compartmentalize all of our parts of our lives that it's so bad for us. It's so bad for us. The nutrition facts on food are great, but if you focus on every little piece and micro, macro, calorie, fat things, looking at all the little things and can I get all the little things right? And if I can't get it here, can I take and have a vitamin C tablet or a vitamin D tablet or this tablet or that tablet so I can get all my things? And that's not the way we need to look at it. We need to look at the whole person. So anyway, PlantPure Nation, really good. It's a little depressing though, not gonna lie. It talks about like governmentally, not that the government should be like handing down, health to its people, but we have such an issue with, healthcare in this country and the cost of healthcare, and there's such a fight over what doesn't matter what side of the fence. If you want privatized healthcare, if you think that socialized medicine would be better. I know that our system is broken. COVID has obviously shown us that, bigger than big. And now with COVID coming back, here we go, the fall, COVID, that's gonna be, you guys, it's gonna be here. Every, August, September, we're gonna be masking up for the next variant. Pretty soon, maybe we'll all be required to do all kinds of things because the government tells us that we have to. But the number one thing that you can do that could potentially help you the most is the food that you consume, the fuel that you give your body. So, but anyways, the government, it's not for the people when it comes to nutrition. Just a little digging. It's so bad, guys. The thing is, it's not like I had a business. I know what marketing is. I understand that whole concept. Just know just know that when it comes to nutrition, what you think you know, you don't know. Only you've been sold. It's whatever latest commercial there is or whatever latest headline there is. And I was guilty of that before doing this. But as I dig more and more and realizing if you start following the trail back, like is where did milk become healthy for us and necessary, like cow's milk? Just follow the dollars, people. That's it. And it's just really sad. It's kind of sad. And I think that there's a lot of help that can happen with this type of diet for a lot of people. A lot of people are ailing. They don't know the information that's out there because it's not being told to them. It's being kept from them. Nutritionfacts.org, Dr. Greger. If you want to dig about anything, it's all of the studies, all of the things that you don't hear about because there's no big dollars behind them. Go there and check it out. But anyways, PlantPure Nation, you should check it out. I'm kind of thinking about, you'll have to see what it is. You'll have to go watch it to know what this is, but I'm thinking about starting a pod maybe in our area for whole food plant-based lifestyle. So anyways, the other thing I wanted to say about nutrition aside from marketing is something that we're a product of is confusion. Because if you can keep people confused, they don't know what the fact is. So just dig for yourself. Even don't take my word for it. Just find things out for yourself. Try to find good, reliable sources. And if you're really serious about doing something better for your health, and I'm going to talk about symptoms in a minute because I didn't talk about this before, but if there's some big changes that you need to make, even if it's not weight and it's just to feel better, you really need to look into the whole food plant-based diet, way of eating. No oil especially, because I believe that oil, and you can watch, like I see lots of vegan recipes. Now what I'm doing is I'm converting them. If I see something I want to try and they use oil, I just exclude it or I come up with another way. But oil is so heavily used and it's such a calorie-dense, unnecessary thing. But we've been told that we need it, right? Well, we don't need it. But anyways, okay. So symptoms. These are the things. I haven't talked, I talk about how I have all this energy and how I feel better. And, I'm walking every single day, 3+ miles a day. We started back to school this week. I got to tell you, I had a little bit of anxiety about how am I going to get all my walking in. I will be honest, I didn't do any of my 5-mile walks all continuous because I couldn't. I don't have time. But every morning I did at least a 1.5 mile. I think Monday I did a 3.5 mile walk before we started school. And then I either just later in the evening walk with Darren, or Allie and I kicked in a little like afternoon after lunch walk, getting like a 1.5 in then, and then I walked with Darren. So I had some pretty big step days, but not over 20,000 like I had done previous, but that's okay. Cause the thing is I'm still able to do it. And this is the thing I want to tell you. We'll get into the symptoms in a minute. But this thing I want to tell you. I have homeschooled, let's see, Carson's 18 years. I've homeschooled the kids, right? This is the first week of homeschooling in 18 years where I did it and I wasn't tired. I had energy for them even when they were a pain in the ass. I will tell you, homeschooling your kids is hard. And I used to get so tired and fatigued. We get the stuff done in the morning. If we could get ultra focused in the morning, I was all right. By afternoon, if we had to get into stuff and they weren't really focusing, because the kids, you lose them at a certain point, I would get really like impatient with them. And that was tough before. It was tough to not get and be like ouchy at each other and be like, come on, focus, pay attention. And this week, it just went so smooth. I mean, it went really well. Because the thing is, I'm not tired. And I've never homeschooled like that, where I wasn't fatigued by the afternoon. So it was just an eye-opener for me. I didn't realize how much that affected what I was doing with the kids and how much or little I was giving, too, as a teacher. So just a big eye-opener. So the thing is, for any of you out there who work outside the home or do anything, you can give so much more of yourself when you're feeling better. So let's talk about symptoms, because I didn't talk about this before. Talked about how, my aches and pains, I don't have a lot of like discomfort. The only thing I do have now, because I walk so damn much, is I'll get, my calves will get tight, my glutes, my lower back sometimes, and then I do the lifting a couple times a week with Carson. So sometimes I'm sore after that. But it used to be, I would wake up over there, and I hurt so bad. My lower back would hurt. My hips would hurt. I was so achy. Like, it would take me an hour or two before I felt like I could, like, move okay. The other thing is I would have this really weird, like heel pain in my right foot. And Darren can attest to this because it would get so bad. Like, if we did much at all in terms of activity, I would be sitting in the car and my foot would just hurt. And I thought it was, like a pinched nerve or something. I do think now, almost, I would say all of it was inflammation. But I had chest pains. I would have chest pains off and on. That's how I ended up in the hospital. I had the jaw pain. Jaw pain might have very well been since I was so infected. Didn't even realize how much infection I had in my mouth from the teeth. That's probably all of that. I also had a lot of headaches, guys. I had a ton of headaches. I would pop ibuprofen or Tylenol. If it wasn't for the soreness, like for me at night, sometimes I would be hurting by the end of the day. I would pop a few ibuprofen before I went to bed just so I could sleep because I was hurting so bad. But the headaches were pretty atrocious as well. And I have, bottle, I don't even know where, I don't use it anymore, but I had a little bottle of Excedrin here. Excedrin, bad stuff, bad for you. I have an Excedrin bottle in the bathroom, and my headaches would get so bad, I'd be drinking my coffee, I'd take my Excedrin sometimes in the afternoon. I have not had one headache since week 3 of the diet. I had headaches the first 2 weeks, ended up starting B12. Those went away. I think it was detox, though, from dairy and maybe cutting back on the refined carbohydrates, maybe. Like all the processed foods, so like coming down from that. But after that, I haven't had one. I haven't had one headache. Now, I won't say that, like, Allison, I think's had a few headaches. And I don't think Darren doesn't have headaches. I don't think I'm his headache. That's not funny. But anyways, I just wanted to share that because I know just a lot of, and I want to say, okay, so I had a hysterectomy, right? And I've talked about this before. And I had, like a tumor that, slow growing tumor. 6 months after I had my last child, my son. Doesn't make sense because they said I probably couldn't have had it when I was pregnant with him, but slow growing, which didn't make sense. But had kidney stones. I think I talked about this last week. I think, honestly, guys, I think all of that stuff, all of these symptoms, all of that stuff had so much to do with how I was eating. I was poisoning myself, and my body was just trying to do its best, and all these things come up. So I see, like, I'm on Facebook and I watch. I know I have several people on my feed, and I haven't said anything to them, but I know several people who deal with migraine headaches. I think that you could help that with diet. If you have dairy, especially in your diet, I know that would help you if you're having any sort of cheese or dairy, but also animal proteins. It just wreaks havoc on your body, and your body loves, like, I can feel like the food makes me feel good. Instead of like eating and feeling like shit, I eat something and I'm like, whoo, re-energized. I can feel that. So anyways, I just really, I know it seems extreme as I'm sitting here talking, like if somebody's stayed with me 18 minutes to listen to this and you're like, well, I'm not going to do that. I could never do that. Just think about it. If nothing else, think about eating more fruits and vegetables first so that you can get more fiber into your diet to clean out all that nasty shit that you're eating if you're eating animal protein and dairy and cheese, because otherwise that stuff gets in your gut and it just rots and it causes lots of problems like colon cancer. It does. It causes it. So, all right, not genes. Could have those genes, but the dairy and the meat turn those genes on. So just hopefully you have a blessed week. I will be back next week with an update. And yeah, if you have any questions, if you have any tips for me, one last thing. I have a note and I missed it. I made oat milk today, guys. We've been battling with trying to get, like, at Aldi they have organic soy, which is fine. They have oat milk now, but it has oil in it. ick. We ended up trying the Plantly, but it has all kinds of added stuff too. Shelby, our one daughter, has a nut issue, so we've been trying to stay away from nut milks. I've kind of looked at them, like, I went through the cooking course and they talked about like nut milks, making your own if you have a really good blender. Well, I have the Ninja blender thing. I just made some oat milk and it's so good and so simple. It's like a half cup of oats and 3 cups, so you have to use distilled water because of minerals. And you can sweeten it if you want to with like some maple syrup. And then you could add a little vanilla, a little bit of salt if you want. And it's good and super inexpensive and gluten-free and not a lot of additives. So get yourself a Ninja mixer or one of the like a Vitamix is expensive, but if you already have one and you're looking at some alternatives and you want to just mix up some and try it, super cheap, just a way to like save you some money. So anyway, you all have a blessed one. I'll shut up now and I will be back next week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.